Hello, my name is Lizzie, and this is Lizzie's Literary Life, and today is day 1 of Squash That Series 24 and 48 edition. So, my plan for the weekend is I'm doing the easy version of the 24 and 48. So Bailey said easy version is if you read for 10 minutes within an hour, you can count that hour. So you have to read 10 minutes in 24 different hours, if that makes sense. So I'm going to do that just to take the pressure off a little bit of reading constantly. And also because I'm reading mostly physical books. I do have an audiobook to get me through. We'll get to that. But when I did my 24 and 48, for real, I was mostly doing audiobooks, and I just don't think it's going to work physically. But my TBR, so the prompt this round, is to binge a series. And I decided way long ago when Bailey, hinted to me that was the prompt for this one after I redeemed my hint for future round during the traffic light last round, I decided I was going to binge the Undercover Princess series by Connie Glynn. Now, these books are by Connie Glynn, who was a YouTuber years and years ago that I watched. Her channel name was Nude Lorella, and she at first was she went through a journey, but she was very pastel pink. She literally had pastel pink hair. This is her. You may recognize her from early YouTube and the pink hair. But she did a lot of Disney content and just aesthetic princessy stuff. And she wrote these books. And the first 3, I was really into her channel. And I pre-ordered the first one and I really enjoyed it. It's a middle grade boarding school princess lesbian vibes, which is totally my cup of tea. I loved the first one, so I continued to pre-order them, the first 3, and then I kind of lost track of her because she stopped posting, and so I didn't ever read the last 2, but I got them from the library. So these are my library copies of the last 2, and I am really excited to reread and continue and finish this series because they're super fun, and I think this is a perfect opportunity. I do not have any of them on audio because they're only available on Audible. So in order to get me through, I do also have an audiobook picked out, which is A Close and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. That's another sequel that I just kind of felt in the mood for. It's really different from this series, so it'll break up a little bit, and that's my audiobook. So that's my TBR. I'm excited. Sprints are on. The readathon just started. I am going to get reading. Hi, this is Outro Lizzie. You're going to see this Lizzie in a moment in the outro, but I feel like I never actually explained the plot of this series, and it's not super well known, so I feel like I should, just to I don't know, in case you're interested. So this is about Lottie Pumpkin. Yes, that is her real name. She is just a country girl, and she works really, really hard to get into this school, Rosewood Hall, which is a fancy, fancy private school, and she gets in on a scholarship, and she goes there. Now, our other main character is Ellie Wolf, and she is the Princess of Maradova. Now, she really wants to go to Rosewood Hall, and she has to convince her family, but they're okay, you can go, but you have to stay undercover. You can't let anyone know you're the princess. When the 2 of them show up to this school, Lottie is just living her life, and she meets a couple people, and there's a rumor that Lottie is the Princess of Maradova, because I guess somehow it got leaked that the princess was coming to Rosewood Hall, and everyone thinks it's Lottie. And Lottie, tries to be no, it's not me, and everyone's seriously, your name is Lottie Pumpkin, that's obviously fake. And basically, Ellie finds out that everyone thinks Lottie is the princess, and is hey, this could count in, this could be in my favor. If everyone thinks it's you, no one's gonna think it's me. And then Ellie's bodyguard from Maradova also comes to the school, Jamie, and he's there too, and it's a whole raucous good time. And there's like plots and conspiracies, and the school has all these secrets. So it has like kind of academia vibes, but princessy, and yeah, it's super fun. I really liked these books. So I will cut you back to your regularly scheduled programming now that you know what this series is actually about. So I am about 100 pages into book 1, and there's this little math puzzle, and I'm going to solve it. So let's go. Okay, here is my first try at the work, and here is my solution. But I'm not confident in it. I'm going to check over it and see if it all works, because I was writing really close together, and I feel like there might be a mistake in there. Like this negative 368 feels wrong because all of the other numbers are positive. It's supposed to be some sort of message, and I really have no idea what that is. So we're going to check our work, see if it's correct. If not, I'll try again. Okay, I checked, and I just had 2 of the numbers wrong. I had X7 and X11 wrong, but they were a really easy fix. I'm not sure. I went wrong in... Where is it? In here somewhere. In the 8, or in here, in this. What did I do? Oh, I totally know what I did. That's okay. But I've got it now. So our sequence of numbers is 23, 9, 12, 12, 9, 1, 13. Oh my gosh, I bet it's an alphabet. I bet it's because they're all under 26. I'm sure it's an alphabet code. I'm gonna decode that and let you know what the message is, and then the sprint's about to be over, and then I'll continue reading and tell you what it means. But this was fun. I love math. So this is what I got with just a straight letter to number, like A = 1. And it's confusing because the will I came out really strong, and then it's am tufty. So who knows what that means? I'm going to try to figure it out a little bit longer before I read on. I would think, if it was all gibberish, I would think that these numbers, like 1 = 23, would mean something, but... and not just like the order of the letters. But I'm going to think about it for a second longer. Maybe it's an anagram, but I'm really bad at anagrams, so we'll see. Guys, it's a name. It's William Tufty. Like, I got so excited about will I, thinking it was going to be a question, but no, it's a name, William Tufty. Okay, let's figure out what that means. Look at my beautiful math. Gorgeous. Stunning. Never been seen before. That was really fun. I'm glad I did it. I love math. So it is the next day. It is Saturday. I did this morning finish Undercover Princess, book 1 of the Rosewood Chronicles by Connie Glynn. I just think these covers are so gorgeous. I really enjoyed this. It was nostalgic. It's very just like, it's like such a vibe of like the princess boarding school. Like, it just feels very my childhood fantasy, you know? And so that's just super, it's just fun. It's really, really fun. Their work, you know, the writing is good. It's like middle grade. It's not as like great as I remembered. I think there are some things that were a little awkward, but mostly like very solid. There's one plot point that I don't remember how it develops. I don't really remember much about this series, and I'm interested to see because I have some qualms about it. But mostly this was a really solid start. I'm really excited to continue the series this weekend. I said I was going to be using, for my audiobook, I said I was going to be listening to A Closed and Common Orbit. I did start that. I listened to about 5 minutes, and I just decided I really wasn't vibing with the audiobook. The narrator just wasn't my style, and kind of the tone just didn't really work for me. I did the first book in that series physically, so I think I'm just going to stick to eyeball reading for that series. But what I decided to listen to instead was Amari and the Great Game by B.B. Elston. So it is a very middle grade weekend. But I just read Amari and the Night Brothers, so I'm excited about this sequel. I've just been listening to that a little bit when I need an audiobook. I am at 10 hours for the easy version of the challenge. Hard version wise, I've read for a total of about 3.5 hours. So, you know, I'm definitely not going to make it to 24 hard version, but that's okay. I wasn't planning on it. My goal is 24 easy version so I can get my nice Discord colors and finish this whole series. So let's get going.
One thing that's interesting about this series is that, like, I went to put the first one on my spreadsheet after I finished it, and I was like, I mean, it's middle grade, but, like, fantasy question mark? Like, it's about princesses, but there's not, like, overt magic. Ellie is princess of a fictional place. It's tagged as fantasy, like, as a genre on Goodreads and Storygraph. It's just interesting to me that it's like a fantasy story without magic. So is it even a fantasy story? I mean, I don't know, genres are fake anyway, but it's just interesting to me. And I wonder if they're gonna lean more into magic elements later on in the series, or if it's gonna stay like it's in this fictional fantasy-like world, but there aren't necessarily, like, there's kind of ghosty stuff happening too, but again, there's not like people doing magic, you know? Currently have a situation in this book where, like, one person is sneaking out and, like, another person is sneaking out to follow them, and then the third person is sneaking out to follow that person, and this person is sneaking out to follow this person. It's so funny. I'm enjoying it.
Hello. It is a week later because last weekend I got sick. It was a little squash that Lizzie moment. And I just did not feel like filming, but I did keep reading, and I did finish my 24 easy hours, which came out to about 9.5 total hours of reading. So I did technically succeed, win the readathon. I did not succeed in my goal. I did finish, I don't know what I last updated you with, but I did finish Princess in Practice, which I gave 4 stars like the first one. I thought this was like a higher 4 though. So like this was more, we really got like advances in the plot in this one, which was really fun. And like also a lot of character advances as well. So this one was really fun. And then I read this one, The Lost Princess. I read this one on audio actually. And Connie Glynn herself narrates the audiobook. And she does a really good job. She used to do, like I mentioned, she's a YouTuber, or was. She used to do, like, impressions videos. So she, like, did really cool voice acting for the characters. And I thought the audiobook was really good. This one, I saw from my ratings from last time I read these that this was my least favorite. And it continued to be my least favorite of the ones I'd read so far. I gave this a 3.5. I thought it wasn't set at Rosewood, which, like, made it a little less fun. And I thought we just didn't get as much plot. And there were a lot of new characters. It just was, like, a little messier, I felt like. So, I do still have these last two, Princess at Heart and Princess Ever After, to read. But I think they're probably, and these were the ones I hadn't read prior to this, so kind of ruined the point to not get to them, but whatever. I will get to them probably in November, because the end of September's looking crazy, and October I have something else going on, which you will get more info about in upcoming videos. But thank you, Bailey and Kayla, for hosting this round of Squash That series. Super fun, really enjoyed, great community, and I am so excited for the January round. I am like already in preparation mode. So yeah, we are gonna leave you here, and I will see you in the next one coming soon. Make sure to comment if this series sounds interesting to you, or if you have heard of it before. or anything else, how you did in Squash That series, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you would like. And that's all I have to say.